Hello, this is the front desk.
Hello and welcome to episode 39 of the Crackin' Backs podcast with your hosts, Dr. Terry Wyman and Dr. Spencer Barron. How are you guys doing today?
Hey, good, Lance.
Hey, woohoo!
Awesome to hear. So joining us today is Tom Harper. Tom is a founding member of Brand X Stunts and has been in the business since 1977. Best known for his work on movies such as Guardians of the Galaxy, Captain America, Pirates of the Caribbean, and many, many, many more. How you doing this morning, Tom?
Good morning. Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm awake now.
At what, 9:30? 10?
You know, this doesn't just happen. Okay? I need my sleep. I need my beauty rest.
Yeah, well, you want to come back in another couple hours, you know?
Yeah, I could use a little more. You know, that Garrison Brothers whiskey was pretty good last night.
Oh, I love Garrison Brothers. They're one of my favorite. They are
so
good. They are good stuff, especially that the single barrel gray. Oh, so
yeah,
good.
and they distill it right down the street from my house, so it's even better.
Wait! You're right down the street from Garrison Brothers?
Yeah,
oh,
they're here in Austin.
I am coming to stay with you more often now that I know that.
Oh, finally,
Yeah,
I get a little nice whiskey. You're coming.
Yeah, pretty much. It's the only. Why else would I come?
Yeah, not to see me.
No.
Yeah.
Hey, first off, Tom, it's awesome to see. It's funny because I talked to your son Riley, and I go, "Hey, you want to get on?" He goes, "Oh, you got to get my dad on." And then I started thinking, I go, "Why did I even ask Riley, Mr. Internet famous, travel the world, when I can have the OG, the original?"
That's
Flying
right.
H?
Yeah. Why do you want the calf when you can have the bull, right?
Exactly. And I apologize for even thinking that and going there in the first place, you know. So on air in front of all the people, I want to apologize for even going there for a second and not going after the OG, the man himself, you know. So welcome aboard.
I'm getting used to it now. Now it used to be, yeah, Riley's my son. Now I'm Riley's dad.
Yeah. I'm kind of. We have the same thing.
Yeah, I don't have a check mark next to my name, so I'm just, I'm who I am.
There you go.
You know how that works on Instagram, right?
Oh yeah. Well, your son is your son's Mr. Instagram, influencer, getting all his shit for free and all that kind of stuff.
Well, the money he makes off of that is almost what he makes off of doing stunts, which is amazing. That's awesome.
No,
it's unbelievable what he's done with it.
No. Yeah, and half of me is jealous and half of me is proud.
Yeah. I can't be jealous. I'm just proud.
Yeah. Hey, for all the people that don't know, especially my partner, tell us how you got even started in the sense, because you're also a pro cyclist. I mean, you got this incredible resume. I want to just get that out there and kind of where you started and how you got into what you're doing.
Well, I grew up around a guy, Ronnie Rondell. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him, but he's a legendary stuntman. I mean, I don't know, you remember the TV show Starsky and Hutch? He was the coordinator on that. And he was, did all those TV shows back in he started in the 50s and went all the way through. I mean, he's retired now. He's in his 80s. But growing up around him, his son and I, Reed, who my son Reed is named after, we grew up racing mini bikes together since we were like 8 years old. So you know how it is. I mean, with your son racing moto, you become very good friends, very close, because from a young age, you're going handlebar to handlebar with this guy, and you got basically your life in their hands of each other. So that bond is really tight. And Reed and I became very best friends and grew up around him, and we never really realized it, but the people I grew up around, like another guy, Scott Wilder, who raced with us, his dad was Glenn Wilder, also another same era as Ronnie. But they all grew up in Woodland Hills area. I was in Encino, but we all grew up in the San Fernando Valley. It was a hotbed for stunt people in the, that era, and a lot of actors too. I mean, on my street alone, there was, Penny Marshall and Rob Reiner from, Laverne and Shirley, and, Randy Jackson from the Jackson 5, Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. from FBI, which a lot of young guys won't remember that, but
I remember that.
Mike Connors from Mannix, right? You know,
Wow.
I used to play with his son Gunner. I mean, our street on Louise Avenue in Encino, California was like, it was just a hotbed of actors, stunt people, movie people, because the studios were close. You know, it was a nice place to live. You know, I used to ride my mini bike across the street in the field. You know, it was a great time, but you didn't realize it, but they were prepping you really to be a stuntman from. I mean, we used to go to Glenn Wilder's house, and next thing you know, he was having us work out fights in the front lawn, you know. And he's like, okay, you would explain where the camera would be and how you didn't have to actually hit someone. You could be, you know, a foot away from their face, but as long as the camera was stacked in the right way, it doesn't tell depth perception. It was a hit as long as you reacted. And stuff that you just learned, but you didn't realize until you were older, and you went, wow, that was just like a whole, you know, it was a learning experience that you had as a guy getting into doing stunts. You know, it was, you had already a base that you didn't even realize you had, you know, because they just did it. They were so passionate about it. You know, we watched Ronnie Rondell do a full burn fire in a parking lot of Stunts Unlimited. He was one of the founding members of Stunts Unlimited. You know, and that was before they do it how we do it now, but they had an air bottle inside this suit, and they had a mask with, you had to put clay around it. They put rubber cement on them, which was, it was crazy, the stuff, and they would light him on fire. I remember first time I saw it, he had like 30 foot of flame coming off him. He's dancing around like, holy crap, you know, this is crazy.
Wow.
But so cool, you know? And, you know, and, you know, that Ronnie was the guy on the cover of that Pink Floyd album where he's on fire and he's shaking hands with another guy. I don't know if you guys remember that or not.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, and that was in that same, it was at the studio, right next door to the office, and he's shaking hands with Danny Rogers, who was another stunt guy. And, you know, he put the stuff on him, and, you know, it was just amazing. He had fire coming off of him, and they put him out, singed his hair. We were all standing there, oh, this is crazy. The guy took a few photos and made the cover of Pink Floyd album. So,
wow.
You know, just growing up around that stuff. But the main thing is like those guys said, anyone who races motocross and has the hand-eye coordination that we have at such a young age, he goes, I can make them stuntman. Period. If you're good at it, no problem, because you already have timing in your head, because you know how to do things. You know, as far as like, you know, as a kid, right? You're racing along, two kids crash in front of you. Got to get off the gas, get on the brakes, get around them. You know, and your brain has to think that way. So you're already in this reactive mode of when you're become a stuntman. If something goes wrong or something's happening, things slow down because of your racing experience, and you're able to react to them. And it just, I mean, I see guys that come from other disciplines, you know, like stick and ball sports, and they have some of that, but they just don't have it like racers do. So that saying, if you're a motocross racer, and I still say it to guys now, you know, like guys from, you know, I have a lot of guys like, you know, there's a kid from Australia that came over here, Cody Mackey, and he's a top motocrosser in Australia. And I was like, yeah, no problem. You know, we can help you out. He really wanted to make a transition because his career was coming to an end. He's working all the time now. He's made the move to the States. But when I was doing Pirates of the Caribbean in Australia, I put him to work, and man, he just picked up on it right away. And then I was in Australia again. I put him to work on Pacific Rim, and he did motors. Obviously, he was doubling a guy on a motorcycle, and he just killed it. So it was great. You know, it was just awesome. So, you know, that's kind of how it worked out. You know, and unfortunately, we lost Reed in on a TV show called Airwolf. He was in a helicopter double in Jan Michael Vincent, and they had an accident, and he unfortunately lost him. He was only 24 years old, but he was the most talented stunt guy ever. And you know, back in those days, we used to lose a lot of guys. I mean, you know, last guy we lost in an accident. I mean, it's been, you know, 15 years or more, I guess. I don't know, but I mean, we used to lose a couple of guys a year. It was dangerous back then. There was no computer generated graphics. There was none of that. It was, okay, pal, we're gonna light you on fire, and you jump off this building and get hit by this car. Good luck, and they'd all walk away. And you go, oh shit, I gotta figure this out, you know. But now it's like, okay, we're gonna, you know, take you up to this point. It'll be a handoff to, you know, a digi double, which they digitally make a double. We'll light that digi double on fire in post production. So now, I mean, it's so much safer than than it was when I was coming up. And trust me, if it was like when I was coming up, I wouldn't have Riley or Reed be stuntmen because I mean, you go to work and you go, God, I hope I don't die today. And you know, Terry, you were around some of those early TV shows, and it was scary. You know, I mean, there was some crazy shit.
Tom, do you remember your first stunt, and do you remember your first injury?
God, no. I mean, it's hard to say. You know, I mean, I started work on a show called Skateboard, right? Because I used to skateboard a lot, and a friend of mine was assistant to the director and said, "Hey, you know, can you come in and do this?" And it's sure. So they just said, she goes, "Oh, he's a stuntman, you know," and they go, "Oh, okay, great. Then you're gonna crash on your skate." They had me doing wrecks all day long. I was so beat up by the end of that day. I mean, I was scraped up. We were at the skateboard thing, and I was like, and they didn't pay me.
Oh my
I was
God.
like, wait, what? It was just some low budget thing, you know, but you know, luckily, you know, it progressed after that and it got a lot better. And all the action TV shows in the 80s and that were very good. And, you know, it just kind of took off. But yeah, my first injury, who knows? You know, I mean, I've had everything. Terry can tell you. He's worked on me so much. He knows. My neck's been broken 3 different times. My back 4 different times. My left foot's completely reconstructed. It got all the metatarsals blew through the top of my foot. Um, you know, I mean, all of it normal. You know, when you're on those TV shows back then, you'd be in a rotation where you were, you know, a regular kind of doubling a guy on a show, and if you got hurt, you didn't tell anybody. And they used to have a saying, if, you know, you don't say shit if you got a mouthful of it. And that was from horse falls and stuff. That was their term. But all of us used to carry like tin snips in our stuff bag because when they sent you to the hospital, like on the A-Team TV show and Dukes of Hazzard, they would have rounder vans going to the hospital to go get us stitched up or get a cast or. But you never had if they insisted on putting a cast on you, you would make sure you always had those tin snips with you because you would cut it off on the way back to the set and you would tape it up. Because if you showed back up with a cast and go, yeah, well, you know, we got to get someone else, then you'd be out of the rotation. So it was a bad deal, you know. So trust me, I've never let things heal, and I pay the price now at 61 years old. You know, and you know, Terry can tell you tries to he's trying to fix me. I've crawled into his office many a day,
many a day,
and walked out.
Did you always go to a chiropractor, or did the stunt crew always believe in this chiropractic thing back in the day when it was not as accepted?
No, I was kind of I mean, I kind of really pushed the chiropractic thing. There was a guy named Dr. Steve Zammit, and I don't know if you guys know him or not, but he was in Woodland Hills there. He now actually lives in Greece or something, or Malta. He moved to Malta. So,
wow.
But he's a really good chiropractor, and a friend of mine. I had broken I was doing a stunt on a motorcycle, where I ran a motorcycle into a car, and I broke 2 vertebrae in my neck and 3 in my back. And, you know, I was just having a really hard time healing. And a friend of mine goes, "You should go to a chiropractor." And I'm like, I didn't even really kind of know what they were, you know. And so I go, Steve is a great guy. And I went to him, and he x-rayed me top to bottom. He was super thorough. He said, "Okay, I know you have these injuries." But this was a while afterwards, you know, so I was somewhat healed. But he x-rayed the crap out of me. I mean, top to bottom. And he goes, "Come back tomorrow." I go, "Aren't you going to do something today?" He goes, "No, I got to look at this stuff, and I'll figure out what I'm going to do with you, and then we'll go from there." So I'm like, okay, this is weird. You know, I'm thinking I'm going to go in there, I'm going to walk out and be great, right? But if this guy's a miracle worker. So anyways, I go back the next day and he goes, "Holy crap, you have some injuries here." You know, he goes, "I got to be real careful about how I do this." I go, "All right." And so he starts working around on me, and I'm not kidding you. I mean, I was really hurting really bad. He worked on me, and he goes, "I'm not going to do a lot today. I'm just going to do a little." And he worked on my neck a little bit. He worked on my back. He got my hips and did up this stuff. I felt 100 times better when I walked out, and I was like, "Wow, you know, okay." He goes, "Come back." You know, I was like the next day or a couple of days later, went back. He goes, "I'm going to do a little more." And he did a little more. I felt even better. And I was sold. I just went. So I started telling all my stunt guys, I'm on the set. I go, this guy. And they're like, "Oh, that's crazy. There's no way." And I'm telling you. So my buddy started. Next thing I know, Zammit has got like 25 stunt guys going. It's like a revolving door. It's kind of like how Terry is with us, you know, all of us. And it's like it was fantastic. So I just kept working with him, and then he moved, and I was with him. I saw him religiously, at least sometimes once twice a week, and then a doctor named Marwan Shahayat who worked with him. Marwan was a fantastic guy as well. He started working on me when Steve left, and then I was with Marwan for, man, I want to say from the mid 90s all the way up until about 2008. And then I started seeing Terry. I think I started seeing you around then. I can't remember the year that you and I started, but I think it's somewhere in there. And you know, what can I say? Terry is the best chiropractor I've ever had. He's, the best thing is that he understands. He understands us. His son
West
racing
Coast.
motocross. Yeah, he understands all of us idiots, and his father was in the movie, but so he gets all of us, what we do. He looks at us and goes, "What'd you do this time?" You tell him, and he goes, "Oh, great. Here, let me do this, right?" But to give you, I don't want to blow your head up too big, Terry. I know
It's already
pretty
getting big. Just keep going.
yeah, to get, I mean, just to give you an idea of something recently, my daughter, she woke up in the middle of the night and was in excruciating pain. Like she's like something is seriously wrong. She got herself to the emergency room. They took X-rays, they did CT scans, they did all this stuff. They're like, we don't see anything. She calls me, and I'm here in Texas, and I'm flying to LA to start prepping a film. And she's like crying on the phone. She goes, "Dad, I don't know what to do and this and that." I said, "Well, I'm going to be there tomorrow." And so I go, "I'm going to take you to Dr. Terry." She goes, "No, Dad, this is like, there's something internal." And I go, "I don't care. We're going to take you to Dr. Terry. He's going to look at you and we'll see." I almost had to carry her into the office. I mean, she was so bad. And we get there and he starts looking and feeling around. He goes, "Well, I can feel something here, here, and here." I mean, literally, when you hear about people crawling into a chiropractic office and walking out, she absolutely, that day was unbelievable because and I don't know if you remember Terry, but I don't even remember what it was wrong with her, but it was something, but I mean, it really affected her internals. Like she was in bad shape. But yeah, she walked out and she's like, "Oh my God, I feel 100% better." And then she went back and, she was fine. So I mean, that's a classic example of how doctors these days, oh, let's do this, let's do that, where's your insurance card? It's like, that's what it's all about, right? It's like,
hey,
crap,
Thank you for that, Tom. I really appreciate that. That was unexpected, but thank you. You're also a high-level cyclist, so you're not just a stuntman. You were a motocrosser, a cyclist, a skateboarder, which your sons, I mean, as much as I like to tease both your, Reed and Riley, they are actually amazing athletes themselves, and I'm sure Cash is going to be right along with them. But what else? Tell us also about. I mean, your life has always been really active, and you just mentioned going to the chiropractor, keeping it going. Even safety now. You talked about the safety. Your boys come in and they get messed up. So even with the safety standards, you guys still put your life on the line. I mean, it's crazy
no,
what you guys do.
we absolutely do. It's just like there's, we used to have what they call 50-50 days, where I remember the very first time it happened to me. I was doing a big stunt, big wreck on a motorcycle, and it was a heavy deal, and I was very nervous about the day. And I walked on the set, and I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" Friends with everyone on the set, and normally say, "Hey, Tommy, how are you, buddy?" This and that. And I was like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" And they kind of walk away. And then, next, "Hey, how you doing? Good morning." And, "Hey, what's up?" And they walk away. And I was like, "What the heck?" I went up to the stunt coordinator, I was wrong, and I go, "Did I piss everybody off?" What? He goes, "Nah, kid, you're on a 50-50 day. Don't worry about it." And what the hell is that? He goes, "You got about a 50% chance of eating it today. They don't want to be that close to you."
Oh my
I go,
God.
"What?" I go, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "Yeah, you got a big gag to do today, man." He goes, "If you fucking eat it today, they don't want to be that close to you, but you'll be fine. Don't worry about it." I'm like, great, So we do the gag. It works great. It's a big wreck, and I'm all right. And get up, and all those people that would not look me in the eye in the morning go, "Yeah, Tommy, that was awesome." Big hugs, and we're back to normal. So it
Oh
was a
my
different
God.
time, right? Back then, it was different. But we still have big days like that. And unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know, my boys are those guys that are at a higher level where coordinators know that they're going to get stuff done. So they get put in spots that are pretty heavy that other coordinators wouldn't, because most of the coordinators they work for, they've known since they were born.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
they're like almost like uncles. It's
Right.
like they've seen them race their motorcycles, they've seen them surf, they've seen them skateboard, they've seen them do everything that they do, and they know they can do it. Excuse me. And they as a stunt coordinator, you feel way more comfortable. Like, I hired kids that, like, a guy like Lance Corey, right, who grew up with Riley. If I got a motorcycle jump I got to do, Lance is going to do it. I know he's going to hit it because that's what he does.
Right.
I mean, that's what
Right.
he did for years. So as a stunt coordinator, you go, okay, I know this guy can do it. I never go into it going, well, I hope this guy can get this stunt done. That never happens in my mind. It's like, I know this guy can do it. I'm putting the right guy in the right place. As a coordinator, you have to know that. And it's way better. It's way better than what it was. But it's still not a perfect science. And yeah, there are occasions when we do have some issues, but you know it's
What,
it's a lot better.
Tom, what stunts? I mean, I know the safety standards have gone up, and they use all the computer generated, uh, aspects of your work. But what are stunts that are still considered dangerous
What
or
are the stunts that
that's
pucker
out there?
you?
Yeah. What's funny is, like, I mean, I flip cars, I mean, do turnovers in cars, and they go, oh, that's huge, but you have a steel cage around, you got all this safety equipment on, everyone's on point because it's a big stunt. And I'll tell you, the ones that get you are the easy, nothing stunt. It's the day where you go, oh, this is a no big deal day, and next thing you know, they're loading an ambulance. And I'll give you an example. My brother was on a movie called The River with Mel Gibson, Sissy Spacek back in the '80s, and there was a scene of him in what is it, Birmingham, Alabama, and there was a steel mill, and it had a railroad track that went around it, and they were doing a scene where it was like a bunch of scab labor guys come in there, and all the union guys are out there going, a bunch of scabs, and they're all picketing, and all the scab laborers, and Mel Gibson was one of them in the front of this like dump truck. It was a 10-ton big truck, and they were all standing in the back, and they were going to drive them through the picket line to get them out of there safely, right? Well, my brother was designated as a guy with a baseball bat to jump up on the hood of this truck that's going, 2 miles an hour, jump up, breaks the windshield, swings at Mel. Mel fights with him a little bit. Mel throws him off the side, right? And as he gets thrown off the side, there's like 300 local extras there, right? And the stunt coordinator said, "Do not be on this side. I've got 6 guys over here going to catch him when he falls. This stuntman's going to fall off. Camera's on the other side of the truck. Won't see you anyway, so don't be there." Okay, no problem. About that was half hour before the stunt. The director went over to all the extras and said, "I want you guys to go crazy around that truck, fill it in, just go nuts." He's getting them all pumped up, right? Well, they were local extras that didn't really work on movies. They forgot what Alan Gibbs, who was the stunt coordinator, said. So when it came time to happen, Alan never heard this happen, right? When it came time to do the stunt, my brother goes up there, does the thing, fights with Mel. Well, all these people had gone crazy around that truck, and the 6 guys that were supposed to catch him over there just got mauled by, crazy extras. And he gets thrown off the side. He lands on top of these people, and they shove him off, but they shove him right underneath the truck, and the dual rear wheels of that 10-ton truck with 50 people in the back rolls right over his chest,
Oh my
and
God.
broke his shoulder blades in half, blew his elbows, the bones right out the side of his elbows, uh,
Ooh.
crushed his ribs. Why he lived? He was in intensive care for 2.5 weeks. Right? He was jacked up, and like he was laying there going, "Well, this is it. I'm gonna die." And this coordinator's like over him, like crying. It was a scene. It was horrible. But to give you an idea, that was a nothing stunt, right? Break the windshield, fight with Mel a little bit, throw him off the side. These guys are gonna catch it. No big deal. We're laughing. No, it turned into an absolute horrific accident. So, I mean,
Wow.
it goes to show you, like, my Scott Wilder, who I talked about earlier, we lost his wife on a movie called Gone Fishing, and she showed up to the set to go just to go shopping with another stunt guy's wife, and they were doing this scene where a boat comes out of the water, goes across the land and back in the water again at this boat show. People are just kind of running out of the way. Well, that lady didn't show up to go shopping with her, so this coordinator goes, "Hey, do you want to work today?" Because she did stunts also. He goes, "Sure, as long as I'm not." And so her husband, Scott Wilder, one of my best friends, and Scott is my son Reed's godfather, and she was his godmother. This thing happens, the boat goes out of control, hits the ramp wrong, comes across and hits her right in the head and decapitates her, and she dies right in my friend's arm. So it gives you an idea. I mean, it can happen that fast, and it's the nothing thing that can take you. I mean, it's just.
Hey Tom, do you have any happy stories?
I do. You guys want to talk about how things can be dangerous? They can be, and it just goes to show you. It's like people go, what's it like? But yeah, I have some great stories. I worked on Waterworld. We were in Hawaii for nine and a half months on Waterworld, and that was just an amazing experience. Just being out in the ocean and having a great,
Hey, Tom, do you cringe when you have some of these actors say they want to do their own stunts?
I turned down 2 Mission Impossible. Turned them down. They were like, "We want you to coordinate these. They're, and they're great, iconic movies, which I would love to have on my resume, but I won't do them because Tom pushes it too hard. And if he gets hurt or killed on the set, and you're the guy on watch, it's the end of your career. And it is. Oh, that's a stunt coordinator that killed Tom Cruise. That's the way they look at it. I don't care. But I just say no. I'm busy. I just not. And I turn him down because he keeps pushing it and pushing it. A friend of mine who's a helicopter pilot, he walked away from the last Mission Impossible because Tom wanted to do his own flying in this helicopter and do this big turn down through this canyon and all this stuff. And he goes, "No, I'm not going to be the aerial coordinator if that's it." And they said, "Well, Tom's doing it." He said, "Well, I'm not."
Didn't he sprain his ankle in one of the movies, in Mission Impossible movies, that delayed
He broke
filming?
it, yeah.
Oh, he broke it.
Yeah.
Oh
so the guy that was on the up line of holding him as he jumped across that thing didn't pull him up. He missed his mark and he broke his ankle or his foot or something. I don't know. But I don't know. It's just, more and more actors. And I try to have them do as much as possible. I mean, if I feel comfortable about it. But there's days when you go, "Hey, no, I'm going to have your double do this." And they're like, "Oh, I can do it." I said, "No, there's other things you're not seeing that, you gotta trust me on that." I've had arguments with actors before going, "Hey, I'm just telling you, that's my job is to keep you safe."
Doesn't Jackie Chan do all his own stunts too? Wasn't that another actor?
Yeah. Well, he was a stunt. I mean, he was very qualified to do it because he was a stunt guy. That became an actor. So. Burt Reynolds was a stunt man that became an actor. I mean, there's. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, it's interesting. I mean, there's the movies I've on like Iron Man 1. I got Marvel started. I did 7 Marvel movies for Marvel. I started them with Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, and Thor 1, and a bunch of these. And like Robert Downey, I had him do as much as I thought he could, but I had a great double for him, and it worked out good. And
that's really cool.
Like Chris Pratt. I did Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 2 with him. He's such a great guy. And then I just had him on Tomorrow Wars, and he does a lot of stuff. He's a very capable guy. He's very active. But Paul Walker, I did Fast and Furious 1, 2, 3, and 4, and Paul Walker was a great friend of mine. That guy could drive. I mean, he could slide it to a mark. He was good. He could have been a stuntman. Steve McQueen. I grew up around Steve McQueen as a kid. Chad and Terry. I raced mini bikes with him. I talked to Chad yesterday. He lives in Palm Springs now. They talk about a guy that's beat up.
Yeah.
Man, he hit the wall at Daytona at like 200.
He's a mess.
He's the Hans device that they wear. Yeah. He broke it in half. I mean, he was in bad shape, but he gets around.
I was in Karate Kid with him.
No, really?
Yeah. Yeah, he was one of the he was one of the Cobra Kai's with me.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Spence, when it was kind of ironic when Tom was actually in my rig at a motocross race when we heard about Walker being passed away. Remember that, Tom?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it was a sad day. He was a good friend.
He was
Wasn't he driving? He was driving, right?
No, he was passenger. The worst thing about it is he was so close to not being in that car. He had left that party. They were having a fundraiser for. He and this other guy, the guy who was driving that car, had a foundation for. They put guys together like stunt people and first responders to go to like anywhere they had a big earthquake or tsunami or anything to go help rescue people. And I was part of their team as well. And it was like, if you were around and we're going to fly you guys to this place, you're going to help go with the first responders because we could, rappel down to things. We could do things to figure out how to get people, And they started, it was a great foundation and it went, I think it was Chile. I didn't go, but there was, the big earthquake. I think it was in Chile. They sent a bunch of people down and, it was a great thing. So they're on this party for the foundation and, Lance, this is another sad story. You might want to turn your headphones off. Anyways.
No, I really do remember like when you got the news because I was in the trailer too. Yeah. And I really remember that.
But anyways, they were having this fundraiser party thing, and there was a bunch of people there, and he had left. He goes, all right, I'm leaving. I got to go see his daughter Meadow, and he was leaving. He leaves. He forgot his phone. He came back, and when he came back, that guy Paul, who was driving his partner, was in their Porsche Spider that he pulled out, and there was this guy in the passenger seat. He was a director for like MTV videos. Paul goes, "Oh, what are you guys doing?" And he goes, "Oh, I thought you left." He goes, "Oh, I forgot my phone. I just came back." He goes, "Oh, we're gonna take this thing for a ride." And Paul goes, "Oh man, I've never been in this thing." And the guy in the passenger seat goes, "Here, jump in, man. You go for a ride. I'll go next." And he goes, so he gets in. They go out around the corner, and I've been to the spot. I looked at it because I wanted to know what happened. But there's a corner. It's out in Santa Clarita, Valencia. There's this corner, and it's kind of off camber, and it has a bunch of those little dots, like you run over with your car, and it was a little bit wet, I guess. And that guy got on the gas, and he was going like, he came into that corner probably 80, and he got on the gas because it came out straight, and he lost control, and the thing spun around and hit a tree on Paul Walker's side, on the passenger side, and just caught on fire. And they could hear it. I mean, all my buddies, I had two buddies there that were special effects guys that were at the thing, and they ran up there with fire extinguishers, and they could not find, it was so wrapped up, they couldn't find Paul, and they saw the other guy, and they could tell he was gone. And, but Paul was like buried into it. And, one of my buddies got in a fist fight with the fire guy and all this stuff. But yeah, it was horrible. But yeah, I do remember that. And it was one of those things, but he was a guy that, like Steve McQueen too. He wanted to jump the motorcycle over that fence on the Great Escape. I don't know if you remember that. When he escapes out and he jumps this Triumph over, he goes, "No, I'm doing it." And the producers go, "You're not doing it." And they put Bud Eakins on it, and Bud did it. And I grew up around Bud's shop. I raced a 1968 Triumph that in the vintage class, and I love it.
Yeah.
But, going back to the Olympic Training Center when I was racing bicycles, I had a crash there, and it's not bad, but I twisted my back, and there was a chiropractor there actually, and that was some of the very first chiropractic I think I ever actually got. Now I think back on it, but he just adjusted my back a little bit. He didn't do anything else, and I didn't even know what it was, but there was at the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs. I lived there for a year training and was on the road cycling team and the team time trial team, and but it's funny. I just kind of flashed on that that guy kind of worked. He worked around on me, and I didn't know what he was doing.
It's that old age. You get these flashbacks that come into your brain every now.
I know.
I get them.
Yeah.
I get them all the time, and then I forget within seconds. Hey,
wait,
what did I want to say?
What do you see from the? Are you seeing, especially with the last couple of years, are you seeing the old guys were like, hey, just figure it out, get in there. Are you seeing that? And now you look back. I mean, I treat a lot of your friends and the old guys, and like you said, now you have regrets. I wish I took better care of myself. I wish I didn't cut that cast off. I wish I didn't do this. But some of these young kids come up now. They go, well, if I don't cut the cast off, I'm looked as a wuss. And are you starting to see a little people taking care of themselves, working out better, seeing chiros, seeing PT, seeing trainers, nutritionists? Are they taking care of themselves better, or is it the same thing?
Well, to give you an idea, when I was coming up, producers used to have a stunt fund, they called it. And the stunt fund was for if we got in a fist fight at the bar that night, they'd come get us out of jail. They brought money, right? Because it was pretty loose back then. Nowadays, I'd say to the guys, I got these young guys working for me, and I go, hey, what are you guys going to do? You going to go partying this weekend? Nah, we're going to go to the climbing gym, and then I think we're going to go get a smoothie, and then, I don't know, maybe do hot yoga later. I just don't know. You guys are young. Go find some girls. Go have a good time.
You mean they're not going to Garrison Brothers that night?
No, they're not going. They're not going to the Gold Club strip bar, and I'm like, okay, whatever. I go, what did you guys do this weekend? Oh, it's great. Went for a 50-mile mountain bike ride, and then we went to the gym and swam for 150 laps. I'm like, okay, great.
That's funny.
Got any good stories? No, that's it. Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's good.
Different time, man. I don't know.
Well, now they're taking selfies with their son.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we got a lot of likes on our picture from the gym, man. It's like, great. Yeah, I don't know. It's different. Yes, and yes, they are taking way better care of themselves. I mean, for us, we didn't really realize we were, keeping in shape, but we were keeping in shape by we were so active. We were either surfing if the waves were good, we were racing. I used to race 6 days a week. I mean, the only day I had off was Monday because they used to race around Southern California in the 70s. I mean, they had races every night during the week except for Monday.
Yeah.
And on the weekends, you raced. So it was, we were in killer shape, but I never saw a gym until I started racing bicycles and they started putting us in the gym and making us do workouts. But I never went to a gym or push weights. It was like I was racing, I was surfing, I was skateboarding, I was whatever it was, but you don't realize how you're keeping yourself in shape, but you are, I mean, we were top low. I mean, I weighed 150 pounds, and when they did my my fat percentage at the OTC, I was at 3.2% body fat at 153 pounds. And I was 6'2" at the time. Yeah, I'm 6 foot now.
All those broken backs and all that.
You jump those cars and that stuff enough, everything goes. You've seen my X-rays.
Oh yeah, yeah. Do you think a lot of it's because of the money now in the movies and the film that there's just so much money to be made that these guys have to jump on their healthcare really quick compared to back the old days?
Yeah. Well, you got to remember that now it's so competitive. There are so many quality stunt people. When I was coming up, there was a handful of really good guys that would do big stunts, right? And not a lot of people would do it. And now that it is safer, there are a lot more people and a lot more talented people got in the business. And what happened is they shut down the Screen Extras Guild and they merged it with Screen Actors Guild. There used to be two different unions. Well, they merged. So all the extras that wanted to be stunt people, it was very hard to get into the union. You had to really, you had to know someone almost to get in. And they merged. All of a sudden, you had this flood of people that are like, I'm a stuntman now. I got a pair of black tennis shoes and I got a headshot. I was like, okay. And so there are so many more people now that are in there and a lot of quality people where there was just a very small group of people before. And so, yeah, it's a way more competitive, like if you got in a bar fight on a Friday night after work on location, it was like, great. If one of my guys do now, I have to get rid of them because it's corporate now. It's GE owns Universal or whatever. It's corporate. I mean, it's like my budgets are figured out by some dude in a cubicle that has never even been on a movie set, and they tell me, no, your budget's too high, and I go, what do you mean it's too high? And they go, well, this guy said it's too high. I go, when was that last time that guy got lit on fire and thrown down a set of stairs? Oh, they said your stunt adjustment's too big. Tell him to do it. No, he won't do that. He says it's crazy. I go, thank you very much. Pay the guy. It's like, I don't know what to tell you.
That's
but
funny.
they are constantly. It's a big fight about money now, and it's very corporate. Where it was, before we used to let's make a really cool project. Let's do it. Now it's like, how much money can we save and get the most on the screen for the least amount of money? And that's the anthem now for the studios, and it makes it tough. It makes it not as fun as it used to be, but it is what it is. You just have to kind of conform to it and do your thing.
Tom, do you, other than the physical stuff, do you watch your diet or nutrition as well?
I do. I eat cheeseburgers a lot.
That's for mental health. Mental health, right?
I love street tacos. Yeah, I watch my diet. I watch it go all over the place.
Into your mouth.
I watch it go in. No, I mean, I'm 61 years old now. I got nothing to prove anymore. I get to enjoy the last half here. It's like, yeah. When when you're racing, when you're doing all that, you don't have to watch what you can eat whatever you want because you're just so active, right? But as soon as you start coordinating, being a stunt coordinator, yeah, there's always craft service on the set. There's, you're working nights, you're drinking coffee and eating, just trying to stay awake. It's a funny story. I did a movie Lone Ranger with Johnny Depp, and my co-coordinator as the stunt coordinator, my co-coordinator was Tom Cruise's stunt double, and he left Tom Cruise after I'm not going to say what, there was an incident that they had a falling out, right? He calls, hey, would you be willing to train me as a coordinator? I said, why the hell would you want to be a coordinator when you double Tom and you make twice as much? You made big money. Like, you make twice as much as what you make as a coordinator. And I go, see all this gray hair? I used to have brown hair. When I was a coordinator, it all turned gray because you're worried about everything. You got all the stress and half the money. And the only reason I'm a coordinator is because, guys like Terry said, you take another hard hit, man, you're going to be in a chair. You just can't take another one like that. Anyways, I said, sure, if you want. So he comes to work with me. We're on the set, and Tom Cruise sends a cake. They took a picture of Casey O'Neill's his name, and they blew it up so he looked like he weighed about 300 pounds. He was all fat looking, and then coffee mugs with the same picture all printed on it. Sent it all to the set, right? Saying, good luck in your stunt coordinating career or something like that. And saying he's just going to be some fat old man. And he's not, he's still in great shape, but that's the mentality of, once you become a stunt coordinator, you're pretty much washed up and you have to do it. Or,
well, you seem to have kept in good shape though.
Yeah, I mean, I weighed myself actually yesterday. I weigh 215 pounds now, and my happy weight is really about 205. But I still ride my mountain bike around, and I still race motocross at 61 years old. I missed Day in the Dirt this year, but that's a race that I raced 11 races. I think the last time you guys were there, Terry, I think I raced the Ironman, which was 11 races in 3 days.
You raced everything.
Yeah, and just brutal. But I love it. I raced an enduro here in Texas. I've never raced an enduro before, and one of my buddies here goes, "Hey, you want to race an enduro?" I'm like, "Sure." Bring my 450 KTM, which is a motocross bike, not made for enduro. It doesn't have handguard. I'm going through these trees at like 60 miles an hour, like oh God, don't break my hands, And just, I mean, it was an interesting deal, but it was really a lot of fun, We
hey Tom, I have one last question for you, unless Terry has another one.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
But it has to do with the pets that I keep seeing walk by. For number one
Lucy.
is I love that dog, and number
That's
two
Lucy.
is, did I see a cat that's bigger than the other dog?
That's a Maine Coon. Yeah, that's
that
Hank.
thing was monster size.
That's Hank the Tank. He's a Maine Coon. He's not even full grown. He'll be 35 pounds when he's full grown.
I want that cat,
that
and
cat.
I want that dog right there too.
So we both myself, I have a golden. Tom has a golden. His son has a golden. Yeah, we're a big golden.
Lucy's my third one. She's amazing. And then actually this sits right here. That was Ruby.
Oh, I remember
Ruby.
Yeah,
Ruby was actually in the movie Guardians of the Galaxy 2 as Cosmo, the space dog.
Yeah,
because my dogs go with me to the set. She'll like sit on when I'm directing second unit. They just sit under my chair, and I'm known as the stunt coordinator with the dog. That guy.
Yeah, everybody knows my dog Doug, and I have this new little cubicle now, and he's sitting right here. He opened the door and he just puts his nose in. He's trying to say hi to everybody. I mean, they're the best dogs ever.
Yeah, this is Lucy's. She lays on her back right there, and I think she needs some chiropractic. Next time you come to her,
You know what, Tom? Well, now that I know you're next to Garrison Brothers, I'm gonna be coming out and hanging out with you, hang out with Lucy, hang out with your wife, hang out with Cash, and they'll see you too. Yeah. So I can't wait to I can't wait to come by and say hi to you and hang out with you and the family again. So
I love it, man. Anytime, you guys are welcome.
Well,
thanks for the stories, Tom. They were great, man.
I really
Thanks.
appreciate you, and I appreciate all you've done. You've been so kind to me, and I just love you to death. So I appreciate everything.
You too, bud.
I think everything you do. Go ahead, hang, have a good Sunday, take a nap, and have a good day.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. We'll see you.
See you, bud.
See you guys. All right. Bye.
Thank you for listening to today's episode of the Kraken Backs podcast. We hope you enjoyed, and make sure you follow our Instagram at the Kraken Backs podcast. Catch new episodes every Monday and Thursday. See you next time.